Eli had always believed in simple things. Work hard, save a little, love deeply, and life would reward you. His parents had taught him that hard work was the secret ingredient to a good life. For many years, it seemed true. Eli worked 2 jobs after school. He skipped vacations, drove an old car with a cracked windshield, and said no to nights out just to put extra coins into his savings jar. He lived a modest life, but it was enough for him. He had dreams too, to open a small art studio, to travel and see the mountains he had only seen in pictures, to someday have a family of his own. Eli wasn't chasing luxury, he was chasing peace, a life where he could breathe, where he could say, "I made it through." But life doesn't always reward effort the way we expect. One winter, everything changed. His company announced layoffs, not because of his mistakes, but because business had slowed. In a 2-minute meeting, Eli lost the job he had poured his heart into for 6 years. At first, he thought he could bounce back quickly. After all, he was smart, hard-working, disciplined. But weeks turned into months. Job offers didn't come. Savings shrank. Rent notices piled up like autumn leaves he couldn't sweep away fast enough. The world outside didn't slow down for him. The landlord didn't care about good intentions. Bills didn't forgive missed deadlines. Friends who once promised to be there no matter what grew silent. At the grocery store, Eli learned to count coins instead of choices. Sometimes it was canned soup, sometimes just bread and water. Pride is a strange thing. It can keep a man standing tall, but it can also starve him. Eli refused to ask for help. He told himself it was just a phase. He lied to himself about how bad it was getting. There were nights when hunger gnawed at his stomach, but loneliness gnawed even harder at his heart. He watched people laugh at cafes, scroll through shiny lives on their phones, buy coffees that cost more than his entire day's meal. It felt like life had picked him out for punishment, like he was invisible, an extra in someone else's movie. One evening, exhausted and defeated, he wandered into a small, nearly empty church. Not because he was particularly religious, but because it was warm and open. He sat in the back, head low, shoulders heavy. An old janitor sweeping the floor noticed him. Without a word, the man sat beside him and offered half his sandwich. Eli hesitated, ashamed, but hunger won over pride. As he ate, the janitor said simply, "Tough times are like winters. You can't stop the snow, but you can prepare your heart to survive the cold." Those words stayed with Eli. The next day, Eli started to change the way he saw things. He realized that maybe life wasn't punishing him. Maybe it was teaching him lessons he would never have learned when everything was easy. He learned that your worth isn't tied to your paycheck. He learned that asking for help isn't weakness. It's wisdom. He learned that some friends are only there for the sunshine, not the storms. And that's okay. He learned that gratitude isn't for perfect days. It's for the tiny miracles hiding in the broken ones. He learned that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to get out of bed and try again. He learned that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. He learned that strength isn't about never falling. It's about standing up one more time than you fall. Eli picked up small jobs, delivering food, cleaning offices at night, tutoring kids after school. No job was too small now, no honest work beneath him. He found pride not in titles, but in effort. He learned that humility opens doors that pride keeps locked. He learned that joy doesn't live in achievement, it lives in presence. He learned that resilience isn't built during easy days. It's crafted in the fire of hard ones. Bit by bit, day by day, things started to turn. It wasn't a miracle. No lightning bolt of luck. Just steady, painful, beautiful persistence. After a year, he had saved enough to rent a tiny studio space. It wasn't the grand art studio of his dreams, but it was his. He painted late into the night, sold small pieces at weekend markets. People didn't just buy his paintings, they bought the story behind them. Survival, hope, resilience. One day, a young boy visiting with his mother looked up at Eli and said, "Your paintings make me feel brave." That was worth more than any paycheck he had ever received. Eli realized that life's true riches weren't about avoiding hardship. They were about what you build inside yourself while you're walking through it. Strength, compassion, gratitude, perseverance, humility, hope. He faced a tough financial struggle. He lost almost everything he thought he needed. But in losing those things, he found something greater. A heart too stubborn to quit, a spirit too bright to break, and a happiness too deep to be stolen. And maybe, just maybe, that was what it meant to be truly rich all along. Eli faced a tough financial struggle. He lost almost everything he thought he needed. But in losing those things, he found something greater, a deeper understanding of himself, a connection to the world that wasn't based on what he could own or achieve, but on how he could endure and evolve. He found a heart too stubborn to quit, a spirit too bright to break, and a happiness too deep to be stolen by any storm. Through the hardship, Eli realized that true wealth is not in possessions, but in the strength we gather from each fall, in the peace we make with ourselves when things fall apart, and in the joy we create from the simplest moments, when we stop measuring our lives by what we have and begin to measure it by who we've become. Because sometimes you don't need to fix what's broken. Sometimes you need to learn to live with the cracks and still stand tall. Sometimes the hardest journeys lead us to the richest destinations, not of material wealth, but of inner freedom, unshakable courage, and the power to begin again. In the end, Eli learned that life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you need, even if what you need is a little more time, a little more strength, and a little more love for the person you're becoming. And that, he realized, was the most precious thing of all.